Hello farmers, welcome to yet another episode of Kilimo Diaries. Now this December, it has been all about beekeeping. Now if you're thinking about doing that in the next year, this one is to stay put. How do you ensure that your bees remain healthy, active and resilient all year round despite of weather availability and the forage? So on this episode, we talk to Delvis Mwendwa of Beecare Apiaries, who will take us through bee colony management. What are you waiting for? Twende. Now, after that beautiful walkthrough of the apiaries here, we are now with Delvis Mwendwa of the Beecare Apiaries to now shed more light on bee colony management. Hi, Delvis.
Hi, Sheila.
That was fantastic.
Amazing.
I loved it.
I loved your bravery.
Yes. Now, this is the second person. Jaffe, beware. All right. So now let's begin with the nitty-gritty. How long have Beecare Apiaries been in this business of beekeeping?
Beecare Apiaries have been in the beekeeping industry for now 11 years. We began in 2014. So now we are doing 11 years. Yes. And
I know you said you're not the founder, but then since you're always with the founders, tell us what perhaps do you think is the motivation that kept them, made them join this beekeeping?
Yeah, so as you know, Beecare is a family business. So it's my parents who began the beekeeping before I joined. So for them, it was basically the love for bees. They just loved bees. The founder just loved bees because when he was just walking through his farm, he could just see bees all around. He has orange fruit farms, so he'll just see bees all around. Just because of the pollination, he just fell in love with them. So that was the major contributor of him doing this. And also, once he established some beehives during that time, and then now when he got his first money from the beehives, so it was a good venture. So that's how Beecare began.
And I'm wondering then, what for yourself, what motivated you? Why not just break out from the family business and go?
When you're in your holidays, it's just about interacting with beekeeping activities. So through that, you see, I was able to build that passion step by step. Got to understand, even when I was even in high school, I knew all about beekeeping because I was involved all through.
Okay, so currently, how many hives do you guys have here at your apiaries?
We have different apiary sites. So in our apiary sites, we have around 230 beehives. But majorly for us, we deal with farmers. We don't do, you see, the beekeeping that we're doing is not as large scale. So we have farmers, registered farmers here, both in Kenya and in Tanzania. So in Kenya, we have around 3,781 farmers registered across the Eastern counties, that is Baringo, West Pokot, Samburu and Turkana. But 70% of them are in Baringo and West Pokot. And in Tanzania, we have 457 farmers registered, so whom we supply them beekeeping equipments. We train them on the beekeeping part, about the sustainability of bees, and then we buy the bee products from them, and they come and do the processing and see later on. Okay.
Now, I want us now to get to bee colony management. Let's talk about swarming. What first is swarming, and why do bees do that?
So swarming occurs due to several reasons. First of all, it can occur due to colony split. So once a bee colony is huge, they may be able, and if the hive, the capacity is almost filled up, they may subdivide each other. So half of it goes and searches for a new home, and another one retains there. So they move with their queen, and the ones that they are remaining, through the queen cells that have been made, they make their own queen. It can also happen due to maybe damage of where they were staying before. For example, if they were staying in a tree and rains occur, and maybe where they were staying now, it's the house where they were living, it's now spoiled. They have to go and look for another place. So you'll see them moving. At some point, you'll see a swarm of bees just moving, flying around. Maybe they first go and hang around a tree, and then once they hang around the tree with the queen and all that. And now the scout bees will be visiting several areas in search of a new place to live. And now that's where the beehives come in. So in the beehives, we have the attractants that you put inside. That's the beeswax that you use to attract the bees. So you'll see the scouting bees, just a few bees in an occupied beehive, they're just coming and entering, and just to see the viability of them staying there. Once they confirm that the house is viable or they can stay, they now come back with the rest of the colony.
And is there a possibility for bees to swarm out of a hive?
Yes, yes, very possible, and occurs many times. But that one occurs especially due to mismanagement of the beehives, and also maybe maybe lack of forage for them. So, for example, they may come out of a hive maybe due to pests, things like safari ants, honey badgers. They may make the bees to move out of the beehive. Things like during the drought season, places which are very drought stricken, and you find in a 3-kilometer radius, 5-kilometer radius, there is no forage for them to get nectar and water. They may shift to another place.
Okay, and in terms of now, we're talking about them swarming away. For a farmer, what are some of the key signs and to look into so that they know, this one, my hive is about to swarm?
On your beehive like this one, you'll see a small quantity of a small number of bees just coming and entering, but not a huge number. They come and enter and leave, just like even around 15. They come and leave, and then now you notice, and you may notice now they are near to. I have a colony that's near to come to me.
For me as a farmer, how then do I prevent my bees from swarming out?
From swarming out, it's more of what we call prevention against things like the pests. So, for example, the beehive, we have stands which are made to prevent pests from coming inside a beehive. For example, in a metal stand, you may see there is a trough in between that you usually put maybe oil or water to prevent things like safari ants from coming. From the stand as well, you'll see things like the stand, you can put a binding wire to lock the beehive in a way that once a honey badger can come to the beehive, it cannot move there. It cannot even open the beehive. So the bees will not swarm out because of things like the pests. So it's more of just management of how you place them. There should be no trees which are hanging towards the beehive, because the ants will use them to get into the
hive. And as we were starting out, you mentioned something on colony splitting. I would want you to expound first on that, and then tell us, then can a farmer now split their colony to avoid swarming?
If you have, for example, you may find a farmer has, for example, 100 beehives, and maybe 60 of them has bees and 40 of them do not have bees. So what you may do, it's not more of swarming out, but you may do a colony split to create occupancy for your other beehives. Not even just about the part of swarming out and going to another place. So you may come and identify, because you inspect your beehive, so you know which colonies are strong, which are weak. So you go to the colonies which are strong. You do the subdivision. So in a frame, for example, the Langston beehive, it has 10 standard frames.
Yes.
So you can remove 5 frames from the brooding chamber to the other hive, and remove 5 frames which do not have any combs on it to replace them here. So it's like now you've done a split. You have some bees which are here, you have some bees which you transfer to the other part.
All right. And Sasa, I would imagine that once you have, split, say, your colony, your hive, you'd have to care for that new hive now. What are some of the, do's and the don'ts that a farmer should take into considerations once they do that? So
once you do the colony split first, do not place the 2 beehives closer to each other. You're supposed to take it a bit far, because you see, once you put them closer to each other, there's a high chance of them going back to their parent hive. So you first have, if your apiary is, where your apiary is located, the hive that you've done the colony split, just take it a bit further away, so that they first adjust to the new home that they are living. So, and then from that, now it's other preventive measures against the pests now.
Okay. And in terms of like the biggest mistakes that you have seen farmers do in terms of their swarm control, what are those, and how can they prevent some of these mistakes? So
swarm control, one is just inspecting the beehives. You see, by inspecting the beehives, you are able to maintain your swarms in your colonies in the beehive. If you do not do inspections continuous, because you see some people usually take, for example, like 4 or 5 months before even coming to inspect your beehive, to inspect they just come during times of harvesting. So when you take that long, you may find the hive has already, pests have already come in, and they have. But if you're doing monthly inspections, you're able to note quickly, I have some ants coming in, I have some wax moths coming in, and you can mitigate the measure early enough. So the longer you wait without inspecting your hive, the higher the chance of your bees swarming out.
And when you're doing these inspections, is it just checking for these pests? Ama, there's something else that you check for?
You even check for the bee health. Even the queen. If you're able to see the queen, you check even according to their health. Even you can check the queen's performance by observing in the brooding chamber. You observe the frames to see how the eggs, how she's laying the eggs. If you open a frame and you see like the performance of the egg laying is not as good as you expect, it means there's a problem with your queen. It's either she's not okay, or she's just underperforming. Or, yeah. So with a good swarm control, first of all, it ensures that you don't miss any harvesting season.
Yes.
When you keep on doing the colony management each and every month, it ensures that you do not miss a harvesting season, because you may find you come after like 4 months, when the beehive was already filled like 3 months ago, and the bees have already started consuming the honey. So through colony management, it ensures that there is honey production that is going on. Bees are performing optimally, and meaning that's higher returns for you as compared to person who's not managing their colony.
And in terms of now managing the hives, how should a farmer manage the hives? Where do they place them? Yeah.
So this begins even now before you even put the hives now. So before you put the hives, you're supposed to invite experts like us and other people in the industry just to come and first do a site visit to see the viability of the place. So there are several things that you check on. So first of all is the availability of forage in the place. We also check on water situation. There should be water also close by, because the bees need water. The thing that you check the bee we assess the bee population to see, for example, you may go to another place, a person who has an acre. For some, due to they have like huge forage water in them. So for some of them, we'll advise they keep that in the same amount of land, and another person will just tell them to put 5, because you see, you have assessed the farm and seen the viability on this farm, the viability on this other farm. But even though in a place where there's no forage, you can boost it through planting of nectar plants. For example, you can plant things like sunflower, bottle brush trees, which will boost the production of nectar in your farms, so that the bees will use them as their food. So even though it doesn't have a lot of forage, you can create a forage yourself.
Now, most important, bee in a hive is the queen bee. Probably, what is a queen bee, and what does she really do for that hive?
So in a beehive, we have 3 types of bees. We have the worker bees, whose their work is to look for nectar, water, and all that. We have the drones, whose their work is to mate the queen. And we have the queen. Now the queen is only one in each and every hive. We have only one queen. And now the work of the queen is to lay eggs for continuation of their generations. So in a day, a queen is supposed to lay around 2,000 eggs a day.
In one day?
Yes.
Wow.
So because you see, for example, the worker bees, they stay only for around 4 months, 4 or 5 months, they die. So of course, the queen has to produce a lot to counter the lifespan of the other bees.
And now, in terms of when a farmer is, finding that queen bee, what are the signs that, this one is a healthy one? Ama, it's just chance, probability?
What you do when you're checking the beehive, first you'll notice that the queen is usually a bit bigger as compared to the other bees. She's actually around, even as compared to the worker bee, she's around maybe 2-3 times bigger. So once you notice when you open the beehive, and sometimes you may notice like she's not as active as she's supposed to be, or even she's just, or even sometimes you may find she's being secluded by the other worker bees. Meaning the other worker bees have maybe seen that she's underperforming and now not. So those are just some signs, and then But the most key sign too, but that one may be difficult to see. But the most key thing is how to check how the eggs are being, how she has laid the eggs on the combs.
So it is in terms of the eggs that she is laying.
She's laying. So and that one you can cross check through the combs. But just looking at the bee, it may not give you like a good view.
That now takes us to our first commercial break. Do not go too far. Keep it TV 47 as we delve deeper into bee colony management. Welcome back. This is Kilimo Diaries here on TV47, and on this episode we are focusing on bee colony management, and with me is Delvis Mwendwa of Beecare Apiaries. Just before the break we were talking about the queen bee. Now you mentioned that sometimes when the worker bees see that the queen bee is not really performing, they might sort of push them away of the hive. But then as a farmer, can you yourself probably go get another queen bee and come and replace in the hive?
Currently, there are studies that are going on about queen rearing by some universities, but mostly it's the bees who create their own queen. Because you see how a queen is made, we have first the queen cell. So the queen cell is bigger in size as compared to the other cells for the other bees. From there, the bee that comes from the queen cell is a bit bigger, but she's not a queen yet because she's not yet mated by the drone.
Yes.
So she becomes only a queen once she's mated. She's mated once in her lifetime by the drones. And now she's not yet a queen, but after mating now she becomes a queen. So mostly it's the bees. So sometimes they usually, just as they have the queen inside the beehive, you'll see other queen cells that they just build as a precaution against the queen maybe dying. So once they see they're underperforming, now they bring up the other queen now.
The queen. All right. And how then does a strong queen bee affect honey production?
So a strong queen bee affects the honey production positively, because with a strong queen bee means she lays a lot of eggs. Meaning the eggs that the adult bees that mature are many. So the colony now grows bigger and bigger quickly. So when the colony is big, you have a high number of bees, and even the worker bees. So once they go and get the nectar and all that, they are huge in number as compared to a colony that has a weak queen bee. So once they go to get the nectar and all that, they bring in a lot as compared to the other ones which are weaker, meaning they fill up the hive quicker.
Okay. And in terms of like the average lifespan of a queen bee, do you know that?
Yes.
What is
a queen bee can stay around 5 to 6 years.
5 to 6
Which
years.
is a big comparison against the worker bee who stays only for months.
Oh, months.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. An interesting one there. So I know we had mentioned about hive inspection, and you mentioned that it needs to be done regularly. Perhaps for a farmer who's doing this, how regular is that? Is it every month, every 3 months, every 6 months? And why should they do it regularly?
You should do it once a month. So, and the importance of this is just to see the progress of your bees and to see their bee health, to see their health, and to see whether there is anything that is obstructing them from continuing with their work.
Yes.
So by doing inspections, you're also able to time yourself on when to harvest and even mitigate against anything that is affecting your hive early enough. So that's why monthly inspections are important.
And what then are the warning signs that my bee colony is not really doing well?
So the warning signs you see your bees are not doing really well is first by you'll come and open the beehive. So for example, you come, let me just show you. So you come and open. So for example, you harvested like a month back, and you see only harvesting on the super chamber,
yes,
on the harvesting chamber. So and then you come in a month and you see you haven't harvested even the brooding chamber, because you see the honey that is there, you leave them for their own consumption. And you come and notice even after a month, they haven't started building new combs. So through that, you're able to know there is a problem, because it's been a whole month and they have not even come to the super chamber. So through that, you are able to now do thorough investigations and more investigation to understand why they are not coming up to the super chamber.
So basically, it's always just if they're not coming up to the super chamber, that's it.
No, it's not basic. It's because you see, it's mostly in terms of performance. So you come and see whether are they continuing to build new combs as compared to how you left them last time. So yes.
Once you have harvested, how long does it take for bees to build new combs up a super chamber?
On the super chamber, it should take around 4 months. It should harvest after every 4 months. But the first harvest, you see, once your beehive has gotten a colony, the first harvest will be around after 6 to 7 months. Because you have to have a build-up period. They come and build the combs here in the brooding chamber before they come up in the super chamber. So it takes around 7 months.
You mentioned that if they are not really performing well here at the super chamber, then it means that there must be a problem. Then for me as a farmer, would I have to clean out even the bees that are at the brooding chamber?
No, it's not. You do not remove them. You do not chase them away.
No?
What you do is just to come and investigate. You may find maybe they have sealed the queen excluder with propolis, maybe now preventing them from coming to the other harvesting chamber. So you just analyze and mitigate, or maybe there's started an infestation of things like wax moth that is affecting their performance and things like that.
When we were going around, there was one hive that they had sealed with propolis. Because we were inspecting them, what was wrong with that hive?
So what was wrong with that specific hive, as you'll see, they had sealed with propolis on top of the queen excluder. So what could have been wrong is maybe they saw it as an opening that's maybe going to it's not supposed to. The other part is not supposed to be part of where they do their activities.
So what happens during a low nectar season?
First of all, you can supplement them by just getting where you can get honey around and just putting them eating the beehive through the bee feeders. So you just put them inside the beehive. You usually feed them inside, not outside, because you see when you feed them outside a beehive, and let's say you have 10 beehives, you see they'll all come to fight there. So you're supposed to feed them each and every hive on its own inside the beehive to prevent the congestions of feeding them from outside. Because you see, once you feed them from outside, you'll have bees from other beehives all coming to the.
So you just give them their honey back?
Yes, it's usually, but also there are other things. You can give them like sugar syrups, which can also supplement. But for me, just give them what they take, which is honey. Yes.
Oh, that's interesting. And in terms of now, what happens if a farmer does not feed them during, say, that drought season? What are the losses that they're looking at?
So if you do not feed your beehives during the drought season, first of all, because even as humans, once you stay in a place where there's nothing you can feed on, you move to a different place. So what they'll do, they'll move to a different place to look for places with nectar and water.
Okay. And does feeding affect now the quality of the honey that is got at the end of the season?
No, it does not, because you see, you only feed them during the drought season. So what you feed them, they do not use it to make honey. What you feed them, you give them for their own consumption. So it's just to sustain them.
Yes. So for honey itself, what affects the quality of honey? Why does it look like some honeys are thicker than the others? What's
a difference in
the
color?
Difference? Yes.
So there are several things. What causes that is mostly because of the plant that they visit. So you may find in places, for example, in places where they're doing coffee farming, you find their honey is maybe darker as compared to honey from places where they have acacia like Baringo, because of the flowers. You see the honey from the acacia, the nectar from the acacia flower, and the honey produced in those areas is lighter because the acacia flower produces around somehow not really whitish, but whitish flowers. But in places where they're doing things like coffee farming and other, you may find their honey is a bit darker, but it's just because of where the bees forage. So we actually have around 8 colors of honey, but it's purely dependent on where the bees forage. But that does not determine that to say that this honey is not good, this one is good. They're all good honeys, just dependent on where they forage. Even if you're feeding them with the good things like honey, if some people feed them from outside, once you feed them from outside, they start fighting against each other because they're all fighting for the same food, for each one of them to take them back to their beehives. So it's good you feed them inside the beehive.
Inside the beehive. Okay.
And if you're using citrus fruits to feed them, keep on replacing. Don't let like a fruit stay there for like more than even like 3 days. Just after like 2 days, you remove it before it starts rotting.
Now, I know many aspiring farmers are watching you, and perhaps they're wondering, what is that one habit that maybe here at Beecare Apiaries that you do on a daily to ensure that our bee colonies are strong and they're good?
The key thing is inspection. We usually ensure in all our apiaries, we do inspection of our beehives to ensure that their health and their performance is always good. We also supplement them with things like sunflower. We plant sunflower around, we plant bottle brush around. And also because we're also manufacturing beehives that we sell to customers, for each beehive we sell, we give 2 trees for planting, trees which supplement on nectar. So we ensure each farmer that buys a beehive from us gets also 2 trees to go and plant for also production of nectar. And through that, they're also motivated to get more plants to just supplement the nectar of your bees, of their bees.
Okay.
Yeah.
And for that farmer who also now wants to get into this honey business,
yes,
what is your advice to them?
For me, honey business is really the best business. With bees, you get high returns from them, which is not as stressful as compared to not stressful, but which does not consume a lot of your time as compared to other activities.
But I would say they're dangerous, but their value, the value at the end of the day is good.
Yeah, they're dangerous, but at least none of us has been stung. So with the right PPE, once you source the right PPE, you just doing your harvesting, doing your inspections will be very easy. So the key thing also, you should find reliable suppliers who will make sure you have the right PPE, which will make even your beekeeping journey the best. So that's why you advocate, if you want to start your beekeeping journey, start it with Beecare.
Yes, and now you have been involved with Beecare for some time now. What would you say is the biggest success so far?
So first of all, is through the number of farmers that we have trained. That's actually our biggest success. So just through having those farmers trained, and also helping other people to create a livelihood. Because when you train the farmers, they increase their bee health and they also create a livelihood for themselves, which is for us is like our motivating factor.
And for someone who's starting, why is it important to get knowledge from like the experts instead of just going in blind?
First of all, they have the experience on the do's and don'ts, on how to make it work, on how to ensure that there is honey production. Instead of just going and beginning blindly, you just go and maybe even just buy a beehive and keep it, and maybe even don't know the procedure of even proper harvesting, proper handling, proper sighting, proper equipment. Yes. So yes, things like that.
All right. So asante sana for taking us through bee colony management. It has been an enlightening moment, and we have learned so much, and we would say asante sana to you. And of course, asante sana to the crew that have been with me, and of course to you who has been watching, and our partner, the Kenya National Farmers Federation. Of course, we do this every other Sunday at 7:30 p.m. My name is Sheila Chelangat, and this is Kilimo Diaries, a show for the farmer, by the farmer, with the farmers.